All right, guys, welcome back. So it's been a little bit since we've had a new video here on the channel. Obviously, I've been pretty busy with high limit racing for the last couple of days. I had obviously the races at Tulare, Hanford, and Placerville. And then yesterday, I kind of just took a day to hang out with the family as I'm back here in my home state of California. And I am still a little bit sick here, trying to recover from whatever sickness I got from Knoxville. Don't know what it is. And if you don't get tested for COVID, you don't have COVID. So we're going to go with that for now. But we are here today talking about the format for the Gold Cup Race of Champions, which is this week. It is the highest paying race in the history of California sprint car racing, with a $100,070 to win main event happening on Saturday night. This is the race that I grew up going to. This was the very first World of Outlaws race I ever saw in my life, was at the Chico's Silver Dollar Speedway. And so this is a big event for me. This is a big deal for me to be able to announce it and to be a part of it, right? So really looking forward to it. It's going to be a huge deal. We're going to have they said 60 cars the other day on the entry list, but we keep adding a few more here and there. And it's going to be about 65 to 68 cars, it sounds like, showing up for this. So that means that we're going to have two split prelim nights. So basically on the board here today, we've got the, a nightly basis, what's going to happen in the night. And then in the blue writing, you're going to have the two prelim nights, which will be on Thursday and on Friday. The red writing is what's going to happen on Saturday for the finale. So we'll get into it right now. So in the blue writing, we'll kick things off with qualifying. And I wanted to mention this as well real quick, that if you aren't familiar, Thursday night and Friday night with the 65-ish cars that we're going to have, they will be split down the middle. And it's going to be two separate fields of cars, like what we saw from the Knoxville Nationals, right? So two separate fields of cars on each night, and they will all be going for points. And then once you tally them up, that's how they'll set up the lineups for Saturday. So on Thursday and Friday, we'll qualify with one flight, so not split flight qualifying. There'll be one car on the racetrack for 2 laps, as we normally see in qualifying time trials, and there will be points on the line for qualifying. 100 points to the overall quick time qualifier, and going down by 1 point per position after that. So 99, 98, 97, 96, all that stuff. Speaking of points, I wanted to point this out as well. There is no championship point standings on the line. No championship points will be earned during the week at the Silver Dollar Speedway as far as the overall championship goes with Kubota High Limit Racing. Now, in the heat races for the prelim nights, there will be 4 heats total, and there will be a 6-car invert from the qualifying time. So the quick time guy will start in the 6th position. That means with a 6 invert and 4 heat races that the 24th place guy will be on the pole of the heat race, 23rd on the pole of the heat race, 22nd and 21st. Those 4 drivers in those positions will be on the pole of their heat races. The heat races will be 10 laps in distance, and the top 5 drivers will transfer to the main event. The heat races also have points on the line as well, 100 points to win, and instead of going down by 1 point per position, there is 2 points going down per position in the heat races, so 98, 96, 94, 92, all the way back to the end of the lineup in the heat races. And it looks like there's probably going to be more like 8 to 9 cars per heat race on each night. And then we have the C main on the board, which we will not have to worry about for the prelim nights. We will, however, have a B main, which will be lined up by the overall point standings from qualifying and the heat races. But we also want to mention this, that the top 2 drivers in overall points after qualifying and the heat races that do not transfer into the feature from the heat race, they will line up on the front row of that B main. For a little bit of a fail-safe for drivers that maybe qualified really well, but maybe had some kind of issue in the heat race, not able to transfer. So it's a little bit of a help for them to be on the front row of that B main. And then 4 cars will transfer from that B main into the feature on the prelim night. So in that feature, the top 8 drivers in points after qualifying and the heat race will be lined up in the first 4 rows of the main event, but they will be inverted by 8. So let's just say a driver goes quick time overall and they somehow win their heat race from 5th. That means they have 200 points, more than likely going to be the high point guy, and they will be starting in the 8th position. So an 8-car invert in the feature for the top 8 drivers in points. And I'm pretty sure I read that the tiebreaker in the points is the qualifying time that you put up on that particular night. The rest of the field for the feature is lined up based on the points from the heat race transfer cars. And then, obviously probably going to need a couple of tiebreakers in that situation. And then in the feature, there are points on the line once again. The features on the prelim nights will be 30 laps in distance, 200 points to the winner of the feature, going down by 3 points after that, 197 for second, 194 for third, 191 for fourth, and 188 for fifth. Now, after the prelim feature on Thursday and after the prelim feature on Friday, we're going to take the top 2 drivers in overall points, and they are locked into the dash for the Saturday night finale. So everybody else will have to go to a heat race, which we'll talk about here in just a moment, but make sure to pay attention to that. The top 2 in overall points after the 2 prelim nights, so 4 drivers overall, will be automatically in the dash, locked into the feature on the Saturday night portion of the Gold Cup. So now we're going to be looking at the red writing on the board, and this is what's going to be happening on the Saturday night portion of the Gold Cup Race of Champions. So no qualifying on the Saturday night portion. Also, want to mention this because a couple of people don't know this, that you can actually zoom in on your phone. If you're watching on YouTube, you can zoom in on the video. If you cannot read some of this stuff, you can zoom in and hopefully you can read my writing. It's not the best. My girlfriend not out here in California, so her handwriting not being able to be used for this video. So on Saturday, the heat races, the top 40 drivers in overall points after the Thursday and Friday night prelims, they will all be locked into the heat races on Saturday. There will be 4 heat races. The winner of the heat race will go to the dash. So they will, the 4 heat race winners will join the 4 cars that were locked in from the prelim nights from the point standings. Each heat race will be 10 laps in distance. And also wanted to mention this, that the 45th and above drivers in the point standings, they will go to a non-qualifiers race. And then basically what's going to happen in the non-qualifiers race is the top couple of drivers will go to the back of the heat race, right? So this will be ran before the heat races start. The non-qualifiers race will go. The top 4 drivers, the first place guy will go to the back of heat 1. For second place guy will go to the back of heat 2. And then everybody else will go to a D main, which I do not have on the board because I don't have enough room on this board. So there will be a D main as well, but those drivers will come out of the non-qualifiers race. Now let's talk about the C main. So we will definitely have one of those on Saturday. It's going to be 10 laps in distance, top 4 drivers going to the B main. And the C main will be lined up by the 8th, 9th, and 10th place drivers as far as where they finished at in the heat race. So if you finish 8th, 9th, or 10th in the heat race, you're going to be in the C main event. And then for the B main, it's going to be 12 laps, and the top 4 drivers will transfer out of that to the back of the feature. And that will be lined up by the 5th, 6th, and 7th place finishers from the heat race. So let me backtrack for just a moment. Looks like I forgot to put that on there. The heat races on Saturday, the top 4 drivers will transfer into the main event on Saturday for the Gold Cup. The winner will go to the dash, as I mentioned, but it's the top 4 finishers going straight into the feature. Now back over to the B main. The top 4 guys will transfer out of the B main to the back of the feature. As I mentioned, 5th, 6th, and 7th place finishers from the heat race will be lined up. That's how they'll line up for the B main. And then also the top 2 drivers in point standings that did not transfer from the heat race, much like what we see on the prelim night, they will line up on the front row of the main event. So another one of those fail safes for a guy that, if he had a great night on the prelim night, he wasn't good enough to be in the top 2 for the lock-in spots. If he cannot transfer out of the heat race, then he has a little bit of a fail safe, a little bit of an opportunity to start up front in the B main and still have a good chance to make the show. Unfortunately, a phone is ringing right now. I am in my parents' house. I did not mention that. I'm at my parents' house, so hopefully you guys can't hear the phone going off right now. For some reason, they still have a house phone. It's last I checked, it's 2024, and my parents have a house phone. So hopefully that stops ringing in just a moment. Let's talk about the dash now. There will be a dash on the Saturday night portion of the Gold Cup Race of Champions. There was not one, as we mentioned, for the prelim nights. There will be 4 lock-ins, and now somebody's leaving a voicemail on that house phone. But in the dash, so the 4 drivers that locked in from the prelim nights, they will get to pick as far as the redraw wheel goes, the Sander Engineering redraw wheel that we use. They will go for spots 1 through 4. First, second, third, and fourth are reserved for the 4 drivers that locked in the prelim nights. And then the spots 5, 6, 7, and 8 in the dash will be reserved for the drivers that won the heat race on Saturday night. and that dash will be 8 laps. The finish of that will determine the lineup for the 70th Gold Cup Race of Champions. Then in the feature, it's going to be 40 laps. The lineup will be the dash cars, obviously, and then after that, it's going to be the second place finishers from the heat races. So the second place guy from heat 1, he'll be 9th. The second place guy from heat 2, he'll be 10th, so on and so forth. Then the third place finishers, then the fourth place finishers, and then the 4 transfers from the B main. No provisionals allowed for the Gold Cup Race of Champions. And it is, like I said, $100,070 to win, the biggest race in California sprint car racing history, and it is $3,000 to take the green flag. So going to have a great field of cars. We're going to talk about more of the field here tomorrow. We're going to start previewing the prelim nights. We'll do the Thursday night prelim tomorrow, talking about all the drivers, and then we will do the Friday night prelim on Wednesday. And somewhere in there as well, we will have the race preview for this race as well. So stay tuned. We do have some content coming out here on the channel. Thank you guys so much for your support. I am 50 subscribers away from 3,000, which is absolutely insane. Thank you guys so much for the support. Please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, comment down below. What do you guys think about the format? It is a little bit different from other formats we've talked about with the Dirt Cup at Skagit a couple weeks ago, the Knoxville 360 and 410 Nationals. It is a little bit different. Let me know your thoughts on that. And let me know if you're going to be there at the Gold Cup as well. We hope to see you hanging out at Silver Dollar Speedway. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll talk to you guys again here soon.